What's going on, YouTube? This is Luke coming to you with a live video here on Endless Entrepreneurs. It is 10 o'clock on a Friday night. I've been out of commission for the last week. Oh, gotta pause that. Sorry, guys. Been out of commission for the last week. I've had family in town. I've been really enjoying the time. My brother was in town for a couple of days. My sister was in town for a couple of days, and really enjoyed seeing family. Kind of just unplugging. I've totally stepped back for the whole week. I really didn't do much except for ship my items. So pretty excited tonight to jump with a live show. I don't normally do them on Friday night, but figured it would be a perfect way to kind of break back into the routine. I've done a lot of reflecting this last week. Hey, Thread King, how you doing? Thanks for stopping in. I've been doing a lot of reflecting, though, on just kind of why I like to sell on eBay, and I thought it was worth doing a video and talking about the reasons why I think selling clothing specifically is great. Hi, Crackers. Thanks for stopping in. What's going on? But before I jump in, I'll just let people start to filter in. Is my sound okay, guys? I've been playing around with the settings on my mic, trying to get it to work correctly. Just want to make sure there's no weird feedback or anything. Hi, Patrick. Awesome. I do have a new webcam coming. I thought it was already here. I was going to try to hook up tonight, but it's not here for some reason. Hi, Jessica. Oh, from Statesville. Cool. So not too far from me. Statesville, North Carolina. Thanks, Tony. I appreciate that. Thanks, Wayne. Thanks for stopping in, guys. Hi, Roxanne. Hi, Jetty Girls from Pasadena, California. Nice. Well, hi, Jessica. That's cool you're nearby. You hit all those northern thrift stores I don't get up to very often then. Hey, feel good. Thanks for stopping in. Hi, DC Picker. All right, we're up to 24 people. I'm going to jump into kind of my reasons here, and then I want to leave lots of room for Q&A since I've been gone for a week. I think I'd love to just kind of interact with you guys and see how you guys' March are, and hopefully things are off to a great start. I know my March has been amazing, especially for not listing very much. I just got done listing 23 items tonight, so I just thought I'd take a break and do this live video. You got dibs on Lake Norman. Goodwill, Jessica. Shannon and I were just up there a couple weeks ago. I think 2.5, 3 weeks ago we were up there. I like going up there every now and then, but I don't get to very often. Hi, Mystic. Thanks for stopping in. Hi, Vianney. Hi, Jared. All right. So, how you doing, Barbara? Thanks for stopping in. All right, so I'm gonna jump in, guys. I'm gonna kind of power through these 5 that we can talk about them, and then Q&A can be around these or whatever else you guys want to talk about. I'm pretty open right now. I needed to take a break. My brain was fried from listings tonight, so I just thought I'd take a break and chat with you guys. But my first real big reason, I was thinking a lot this last week of just like why I like to sell clothing so much. I get emails every now and then from viewers, and I always appreciate them. And they're saying, well, why don't you sell this? Have you looked at selling this? Have you looked at selling on Amazon? And at its core for me, I think the reason why I have stuck with clothing as long as I have, and I think it's my top reason, is, and I'm going to start with the top and work down, is that the niche brand knowledge and the uniqueness of listing each item separates you from either A, your competition, and B, it keeps it always new for me. Like I always find, like each week, I feel like I find a brand new brand, new style in something, a new material, something I didn't know. And it's not the same as Amazon where I take a phone, scan it, and it just tells me what to do with it. Like I have to actually have some head knowledge, apply that knowledge I've researched over time and gathered. And that's what separates me and allows me to source so much when I go to one store versus 3 or things like that. And I think that's my favorite thing about clothing and why it's stuck for me is it still requires work. Like it requires work up front to learn and put in the time and separate yourself. And I think that for me, because I like to kind of just put my head down and go and make sure that I am continuing working and building, that point alone is, I think, my number one reason to sell clothing, is that it creates almost like a barrier to entry for people who want to do it. And I think that's why I applaud everyone who does stick with it, is you have to really educate yourself on what sells, and you have to adapt as it goes. So I think that's my first reason, is just the niche and brand knowledge required to be successful, I think, is high. And to me, that's attractive, and it's a good place to position yourself, especially when building a business. Number 2 is the margins for clothing just in general are high. And I know that's a really blanket statement because clothing prices other places in the country are higher, especially used clothing at Goodwills. But I still feel like even when that's the case, there are enough stuff out there that the margins are high. When you can get into something for, and let's just say, I'll talk about like a marked up Goodwill. So let's say Northeast, you find a high-end dress shirt for $10, which just seems like a lot. I'm not used to paying that. I pay $4. Let's say 10. You still sell it for 40, right? Like you're getting 4 times your money back. And then the cost to ship it's low. The fees are not that bad on it. I mean, you're pretty much getting 200% net profit back on that $10 easily, and that's just a rough number. And I just feel like that's the case more times than not. Like, I don't have to sell 1,000 small, slim margin items in clothing. You have the option to sell a fewer items and make a bigger profit. I think Ronnie over at Hearts Picker is the perfect example of that. It's just you don't have to sell thousands and thousands of items each month. And I love that about clothing is the high margins give you the opportunity to make a big profit but still do less and not have to crank out insane volumes at a 10% margin or a 15% margin. So yeah, Common PC is not receiving the fees. Everyone's still good. You still hear me and all that stuff. And thanks, Mark. I appreciate that. Let's see. I'm not seeing comments right now. Oh, Jessica says working. Okay. I'm going to keep going. I would just refresh comment. Just back out and refresh. So first, those are my first two. The third one, which was kind of interchangeable, but was why I've stuck with clothing as well, especially on eBay, is that it's easy to ship. And for you clothing sellers, I think you'd agree with me if you've tried selling anything else. Like I used to sell electronics and like Guitar Hero things and just weird different niche stuff like that. And it's really difficult when you need to find a rigid box, not allow something to bend or break, make sure it's well packaged. I can take a cotton piece of clothing, a wool piece of clothing, a cashmere piece of clothing, a whatever piece of clothing, throw it in a self-seal poly bag, and it's perfectly acceptable. It's acceptable to the customer. It's acceptable to me. It's safe. It's acceptable to the post office. Like, it's super. To me, it's like that. It's not can't be simpler than that. I don't have to waste a ton of time every single time I make a sale. It's not a unique packaging experience. It's not a unique boxing experience. So for me, I think that's why clothing is just stuck around for so long. Is I can commoditize it as far as my shipping process goes. It's unique enough on the brand side that it keeps my interest, but it's commoditizable and that I can ship it the same way every time and weigh it the same way. And for me, it really is as simple as like it's under a pound or it's over a pound. If it's under a pound, it's going first class. If it's over a pound, it's pretty much going in flat rate somehow, some way, shape, or form. And that's just how it is. So that's number 3. Number 2 for me is the limited competition. I know I kind of talked about this, but it's to me, and I know it's subjective and people argue, and that's fine. There is limited competition in clothing, guys. Like I've been in the Northeast where the prices sucked, and you can say that it was competitive. I've been in the South down here. I haven't been on the West Coast, so that but I have never seen a clothing seller who has stuck with it for any length of time who would tell you that they have a hard time finding supply. In the beginning, I think it feels harder because your brand knowledge is a little smaller, so you're not seen as much. But I think a lot of times it's there. You just haven't got the education yet to find all that other stuff. But as you grow into all the different areas, even with high prices, all this stuff, I don't think there's a lot of competition out there. And for me, that's encouraging as a reseller because I don't feel like I'm picking through thousands and thousands of items and only finding one thing. Or I don't feel like I walk into a Goodwill and I better hurry through the racks because the 4 other people are going to beat me to it. Now, I used to garage sale, and so I think that's why I'm comparing it to. Like, when you went to a garage sale, you know what the hot items are. If you're not the first one there, there's 4 other people there trying to get it, and you're outbidding them or out hustling them. And for me, it's like I don't have that pressure. And I shop pretty much all retail stores, not bins, so I know bins a little more competition probably. But even like that, like when I go to retail, I can just take my time and go to the store. I've got other resellers that I've come across in stores go through a rack, and then I've gone through that rack right after and found tons of stuff. And so that like it comes back to the competition isn't that fierce, that it's crippling, and then your brand knowledge separates you again on top of that, which goes back to my number 1 reason is you can go through a rack after someone else and still find stuff. So that's my reason number 4 for why I think I've stuck and loved. They're like my top reasons for selling clothes on eBay. And my fifth reason is that it's easy to source. It is plentiful. When you walk into a thrift store, clothing normally is the number one item they have. So just pure numbers, percentage wise, I have so much to look through. And then you want to go away from thrift stores. When you go to estate sales, no one wants the clothing. Clothing's the last thing people are looking for at estate sales. So again, you have a huge advantage going in there with a huge amount of stuff to pick from. And I just love that. I mean, I just absolutely love that. And then there's just so many other wholesaling, opportunities. You can work with dry cleaners on their overstock. You can work on closeouts, you name it. Then people will sell in bulk. But I think clothing is one of the easiest things to source there is. And this is kind of from, I have done Amazon, I've done books, I've done electronics, I've done retail arbitrage. I've tried all these things, and you can be very successful at all of them. But for me, it's a lot more stressful sourcing in those situations because there are so many other people to do it. And so it makes sourcing just that much easier for me. So, I mean, that's in a nutshell, guys. Those are my top 5 reasons. And I really wanted to share them because this last week, like I said, I wasn't really doing a lot of eBay stuff. I was enjoying being family, but it didn't mean my mind wasn't still working. And I was just thinking about, I've been selling clothing for a really long time. And when you think about like transitioning your business and building your business, you want to be doing something that you enjoy doing. And I was kind of like gut checking myself, like, hey, if this gets really big, am I going to still enjoy doing it if it's all I do? And I think I've answered that question for myself with the fact that it just really, really is engaging to me. Hi, Jenny girl. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. And I agree with you there. Jenny goes, so that there will never be a shortage. And I totally agree. Everyone will always have to wear clothing. And I guess that's like a appendage to number 1, easy to source and all those other things, is everyone's going to always wear clothing unless something fundamentally changes in our society. Everyone will be wearing clothing. So it'll always be a commodity that's needed. Hi, Christina. Thank you. Michael said he found a new Attacks Patagonia sweater from a state sale for $3. See, and that's what I mean. Like, it's just easy to source, it's plentiful, and the competition is it's not hard to work through. So we got 60 people watching. I just want to stop and thank everyone for tuning in on this kind of impromptu Friday night. I know NCAA tournament's on, March Madness. I've been watching a lot of basketball. I'm a huge basketball fan. So I appreciate you guys stopping in. And Ron, thank you. I'm glad I'm feeling better too. I was down and out on the weekend. I probably hadn't been this sick in a really long time. So happy to be on the mend. But let's just jump. I want to jump right into Q&A, see what you guys think about that, and really just anything is, you can ask anything right now. I love the Q&A part of this. Anything you've been thinking about, I'll scroll through the chat to see what's been coming if I miss, but just fire away and let's just chat and see what we can come up with here. Thrift Shop Hustler said, I've had a hard time getting into clothes. Been doing cards and collectibles for years. The learning curve is crazy and the customers are a little more intense. Yeah, so, and I agree with that statement. I think that clothing is harder to get into because of the learning curve, right? In the beginning, you feel like there's nothing to source because you only know a few things, and it takes time to accumulate that brand knowledge. So I think that's a very valid statement, but I think that's also the reason you should keep pursuing it and diving into it, because once you get that, you're separated so much from everyone else. Let me see what else we got here. Jessica Jones said, I saw where one guy goes around to hotels and asks for lost and found stuff. Thought that was genius. I never thought, yeah, that's very smart. I actually have been talking with someone from Winston-Salem, Jessica, which is, that'll mean something to you nearby. They've actually moved all of the overstock from dry cleaners at like a $2 to $3 per unit price. And so I'm negotiating right now, possibly doing some bulk purchase, like 1,500 units. So I'll let everyone know how that goes. I've been kind of exchanging some emails and texts on that. Tony said, how to determine if Red Star Da Vinci is real. So I'm going to sound really sad here. I'm not sure what that is. I don't know that I ever come across it. And it sounds like it's probably something very valuable. I'm not sure. Jorge said, I'm heading for 2,000 sales on my 3rd month doing used clothing. That's awesome. Congrats. That's so awesome. Jared said, top selling brand for me? I have a ton. I mean, like fast movers, like probably, I would say my highest sell-through would be Carbon Cobalt, maybe. It's a really niche brand that never lasts like more than a couple of days when I list it. But I don't know if that really answers that question specifically, but I'm just trying to think of like the high sell-through stuff. I have tons of brands I love to sell. Matt Hefner said, I found a Orvis Safari jacket at Salvation Army for $7, sold for sold for $49.99. Or is that you're saying that sold for $5,000? Jenny said, "Women, we know this from birth. Clothing, so clothing's easy." Yes, I agree. Thank you very much. Jeremy said, "Where did you get your best brand knowledge?" I got my brand knowledge from watching haul videos, buying ebooks. I bought a lot of Rakin's ebooks back in the day. Really just watching haul videos and sales update videos on YouTube. I use YouTube to the max to educate myself. I still use it. I watch tons of people's haul videos. Alfred Frank says, "How have you been with golf shirts? Any top brands you like?" I love Peter Millar for golf shirts. Golf shirts move well. They're seasonal, but they still move well all year for the most part. They'll spike right now. But yeah, Peter Millar is probably my favorite golf shirt. DC Picker said, "I find male customers much less intense than my female customers." I agree with that. I sell pretty much mostly men's clothing, but I have a much higher return rate on women's clothing. It's just the way it is. And I say much higher, I mean like 1% or 2 higher, but they seem to be a little pickier about the way things fit, which is understandable. HDL said, "Do you automatically pick up 100% silk shirts come out of the brand name?" No, I do not. I'm still pretty picky with my brands with silk. Silk's a pretty saturated market, believe it or not. You wouldn't think so, but it is. And so I don't really pick up the off-brand stuff very often, unless I can get it like dirt cheap, like $1 or less. Mystic Bazaar said, "Do you use any software for bookkeeping?" I do all bookkeeping in Excel. I do average costing, and that seems to work just fine for me. I'm going through my second business site, business year. We're doing average costing. It seems to work well. So no, I just use Excel. I use that tracking software I have, or my tracking spreadsheet I have, and I have another like P&L one I kind of mix in there. But that's it. Ron Thor says, "I currently post 6 pictures when I'm taking pictures of jeans. An idea is how I can cut that down to 3. I'm trying to get volume listed and advice to the appreciation." So I have a different approach on this, Ron. I don't think cutting down pictures is a good idea. Unless you're going to a low price point. So if you say higher volume, I think it matters what you're trying to accomplish. If you're trying to do higher volume at like a $25 average sell price, then I say no, you need to keep your pictures, 6 pictures. If you're going down to a $15 price point, you're buying at the bins for $1 and you're just flipping, churning volume, then yeah, 3 pictures is fine. But like for my price point where I'm selling at, pictures matter because I'm asking for the highest end of this price spectrum. So I don't think I could give you advice on that. Just because that's not how I do it. I'm not saying you shouldn't or that it's wrong. That's just not what I try to accomplish. Michael Sampson, "What brand do you buy regardless of size, color, pattern?" Probably Patagonia, Michael, is one that I pretty much just pick up all Patagonia. I pick up all, Patagonia is the one that jumps out at me. Thurso said, thanks for the great video on H&M collections. Was a great video. I'm glad that was helpful. Oh, that was at Jessica. Oh, sorry. Jessica, I need to check out your channel. Put a link in the chat if you can to your channel so I can follow you. Love to see that. H&M, that's a women's line, right? I'm trying to educate myself more for Shannon. Shannon's been growing her business pretty fast, so I've been learning a lot of women's stuff. Hey, it's Portia. I started selling on eBay about 32 days ago. I'm also 3K in sales. Having the time of your life. That's awesome. Great job. Let me see. Bob said, anything masters will go fast now. Yeah, great point, Bob. My masters polos are flying off the shelf right now. So yeah, anything with that masters logo, get it up if you haven't listed it yet. Oh, sorry. I thrift shop myself. I shut out the wrong person. Okay. I was gonna say I love to watch videos of other YouTubers for sure. Tony Anders said, "What area in Charlotte are your Goodwills in that area once a month?" So I'm in South Charlotte, but we have probably 30 thrift stores, Jessica, in like a 40-minute radius. I mean, I think we have like 15 or 16 Goodwills. We've got a bunch of, I think Value City. I don't go to those very often, but they're around. There's a couple mom and pop shops. But yeah, I'm in South Charlotte area. I'm glad you're enjoying the videos, Hobo. Thank you. Matt just asked, where did you get the mannequin for Shannon? I actually ordered that right on Amazon. It's a women's form mannequin. I think it's a medium. She is complaining a little bit that for like size 4 and under, it's too big. So I don't know. We might honestly have to buy 2, which kind of stinks, but just so that it shows well, I think for women's clothing and dresses, I'm learning from Shannon that it looks like them flowing right and sitting on the mannequin makes a huge difference. Jared said, what brands do you sell in lots? The only I pretty much just sell Brooks Brothers polo shirts in lots. They seem to do pretty well. I can get like $45, $50 shipped for 3 of them usually. So we're in the high 30s at the lowest. Chase the Dream said, liked your tie video, helped cut my listings down for better results. You redid 150 ties. That's awesome. I'm glad it was helpful. Ties are such a cool little niche you can really do well with. Michael Sampson, what size is your male mannequin? I feel so bad every time someone asks. I have no idea. I bought it like 3.5 years ago. It's broke. I sit it on the table and spin it. So I wish I could answer. I'm guessing I can fit pretty much everything but like an extra small on it. So I'm thinking it's like a large male form, if that's the right size. Chinese girl said, I can tell you volumes about H&M. Yeah, I would love to educate myself on any of that stuff. If you don't mind, just like either link up put your channel in the chat or just shoot me an email. We can chat offline. I always like to hear from other resellers. Turtle Trader said, have you ever gone to Gilson's Men's Consignment? No, I haven't. Is that here in Charlotte, I'm assuming? Wow. Jenny said she had a ton of examples, but bought a peacoat for $50 and sold for $500 overseas. Mason Martin Margiela for H&M. That's crazy. Yeah, Chase the Dream. Finding ties at the bins is the way to go. If you've watched Casey over on Rockstar Flipper, he does that quite a bit. I wish I could get into ties that cheap. I get them for $2 retail here. Jared asks, what Ralph Lauren items do you buy or pass, or is the market just too saturated? Market is not too saturated. Just got to be picky what you grab. I buy all button front dress shirts. And I don't buy their cotton polos, and I buy all their blazers as long as they're like good patterns and not just like pinstripe non-matching stuff. And I buy all their dress pants if they have the pony on them. The pony is kind of the signature separator for me with pants. I hope that helps, Jared. So Turtle, no, I haven't been in that consignment store. Hey, Sports said, what's the best way to build inventory while still selling heavily? I'm having a hard time reaching private listings because items selling quickly. Quick flipper. Yeah, that's tough. For me, economically, the only way to build your inventory is to adjust your sell price, right? So if you're selling through too fast and you just physically can't list more items because you just can't either source them fast enough or you can't get them up, you just need to adjust. You have to raise your price, and I would just do it slowly, right? So if your sell through is at like 5% daily or something like that, something crazy, I would just raise your prices by like 5%, 6%, and try to slow it down by like 1%. Like just try to slowly slow your sell through down as you increase your price. It'll more than make up in profitability, and you'll start to bulk up your inventory in the long run. That's why I go for the top end of pricing, because I mean I work full time, so I'd rather just build my inventory huge and get max price just to maximize my time. So hopefully that answers your question. We got 68 people watching, guys. That's awesome. If you don't mind, hit that like button, and thank you guys for tuning in. Vintage Grab said, hey, Luke, what's up? You're listening to say no returns for not fitting right because you have measurements listed. Yeah, so I've been lazy, and I need to redo all of my templates and consolidate them. I need to take off the restocking fee. I have Rake and Profit's old template. No one ever reads that. Like, if I'm being completely honest, no one reads all the way down to the description. I never enforce it. I accept all returns. I don't argue that. I have 30-day returns. All that stuff. So yeah, I appreciate you pointing that out. I need to go through and do a find and replace on all the listings and just erase that whole bottom section. So maybe I'll get on that this weekend. Yeah, I don't recommend having a restocking fee, by the way, guys, and I don't recommend not accepting returns. Like, just accept the returns. It's part of the business. It's just the way it goes. I've had one return this whole month so far. So just it's not worth fighting them. Alfonso said, I'm sitting on 2 Masters collection shirts. What's a good price to list at? What about Peter Millar edition? If you have a Peter Millar Masters, I'm just guessing right now. I would say high 30s right now, this time frame. Michael says, if we had a question about a posting, can we email you for advice, critique? Yeah, I mean, you definitely can email me. I love hearing from people and answering questions. Just don't get frustrated if it takes me like a week to reply. Try to reply in batches. the best that I can. Occasionally, if it's a long question or something that a lot of people are asking, I'll just instead I'll do a video and address it. But yeah, definitely email me. That's no problem at all. Drummer said, can you do a video on sports coats and blazers, also different between suit jackets? So I'm glad you brought that up, Drummer. So I just finalized with Ronnie over on Hearts Picker. We are going to do a show. I believe it's going to be on my channel this Wednesday at 8 p.m. And the show is going to be 100% focused on suits and blazers and everything you want to know about them. Basically from start to finish. What you should look for when you're outsourcing, what ones are hot. I'm going to interview him because honestly, I learned from him. Like a lot of my knowledge on suits and blazers, I learned from him. So the format's probably going to be something like I'll interview him. We'll trade some information back and forth and try to help you guys with kind of what's hot out there, what materials to look for, what patterns to look for, what's selling, kind of everything you want to know. And then we'll do some Q&A on it. So drummer, just stay tuned for that. That's going to be Wednesday night at 8, and I'll have that up. I'll have a link up for that eventually here on my channel just so everyone can kind of get ready for it. And we'll do that live, of course. Tony said, after 30 days, what do you do with the second 30 days lower or what? No, I never adjust my pricing, Tony, unless it was a bad buy. So pretty much I operate on the assumption that if I buy something I think it can sell for 30, I think it'll sell for 30 a year from now too. And it just needs that right buyer to come find it. So that's pretty much what I do. I run a 20% off sale continuously every 2 days, and I price my items accordingly. Alfred asks, some about feedback. Hold on. When do you leave feedback? Immediately upon payment or after delivered? I leave feedback right away, as soon as I ship it. So I just go through after I do my shipping, I check them all and leave feedback. Ren, Jared, no, I don't buy Nautica unless it's new with tags. Ren Douglas asks, do you ever sell higher end jackets that have small flaws, or would you pass up the jacket completely? That's a great question. So I just found my first Keaton blazer ever. I never had found one. And it was in pretty rough shape. It had some light wear that you could see around it. It had some tears on the inside of the lining, and I sold it for $65. I was in it for $5. So I pick them up if the brand is hot enough, and we'll move. Mr. Cheesefire said, "Have you ever sold any Faded Glory?" I don't sell Faded Glory. To me, that's a very low end brand that has very low margin. So I just could never get into it cheap enough to make a profit. And good pictures definitely help you get the end of the price band. I mean, that's why I take a lot of time on my pictures. They're not the best, but I feel like they separate most sellers. Is the Excel tracking enough for taxes as well? Vianney Martinez said. So I'm very careful not to give tax advice because it's very individual to your situation, to your income levels, to your state. There are so many variables that make it specific to you. But at its basic core, you need to know what you're buying, how much you're buying it for, when you're buying it. You know what you're selling, how much you're selling it for, when you're selling it. Those basic things help you have a good idea of your business, and it helps at the end of the year for sure. So I mean, that's about as far as I'll go with tax advice. I definitely would recommend consulting someone in your area. Thrift Shop Hustler said, where in my eBay section do you set a sale for your store? Yes, I have a store. So if you click on the marketing button, go to my promotions, and then go to markdown manager, and then in there you can set a sale, and you can pick either based on your store categories, or you can just put all fixed prices, all fixed price listings for a certain percentage. But that's how you do it. It's pretty. I'll do a video sometime on it. I think Casey's done a video on it over on Rockstar Flipper too. You can check out his channel. Ren said, yeah, I saw Keaton that had a moth hole past it. Yeah, moth hole I might pass on. It wasn't that bad. It was just light wear on the coat, but in the inside could have been repaired. Donna said it would be great to see different lighting systems and how to place the lights. That's a great question, Donna. I'm gonna add that to my list. Anytime you guys give me ideas, by the way, I add them. I have a master list I keep of ideas. That way, whenever I don't know what I'm gonna do that day for a video, I try to just pull from that list and answer you guys' questions. So I will add that to the list. Thank you, Donna. Matt Heffer said, after relisting the same item repeatedly, at what point do you determine it's a bad buy and start lowering the price? That's a good question. Usually I know something's a bad buy when I list it. So like usually I'll be in the store, I pick it up, I look and research it, and I think that usually it's just like I missed a keyword, I missed something important, and so it looked like a good buy. And then when I went to list it, I researched it and was like, oh crap, that's like $20 lower than I thought. So then I just usually price it low at that time. If I have something that's stale, has no watchers, it's been there for 60, 90 days, maybe I'll lower it by, 5, 10, 15%. It's kind of very individual. Like at this point, I know pretty quickly if something's a bad buy. I wish I could be more specific, Matt. That's kind of the best way I can say it. HDLE said, what's the minimum profit amount that you look for in each item? That's a really good question, and I think everyone should be asking themselves that and determining it for your business. For me, because my average buying price is about $4.70, because dress shirts are $4, blazers are $5. Pretty much from a blazer on down to I'll say blazer on down to a shirt and pants. I won't buy anything that I can't get at least usually $17 for on the shirt side and $20 for on the pants side. And that gives me about a net profit of $6.50, $7 minimum. And for me, it's just not worth my time. If I can't net that much per item, I'm not going to list it. I like it to be more around $15, to be honest with you, just because that's way more worth my time. But you do have to have your bread and butter. And like dress shirts for me, I probably net between like $6.50 and $15, depending on the brand. So hopefully that answers your question. Let me see. I'm trying to miss a lot of questions here. Jeremy said, did you ever do flat lay instead of the mannequin? I never did the flat lay. I used a hanger before. My very first started way back when. But I had a mannequin pretty early on. It just was easier. It was faster for me to list. But you don't need to. You can flat lay with natural light and still get nice pictures. I've seen tons of sellers who do that and are really successful with it. Ren Douglas said, do you do one-day processing? Yep, I do one-day processing. One-day processing, free shipping, 30-day returns. How I do things, I like to offer that. Shoe clean how-to video Hobo asked for. I'm going to defer this one to you. Go check out the Soul Advisor, his YouTube channel. He has the best videos I've ever watched on how to clean shoes. And I mean, I am friends with Tino, but I've learned so much from him. I highly recommend the Soul Advisor. Just go look up his how-tos. They're fantastic, Hobo. Mark Pearson said, Luke tried doing a 10% off for a couple of weeks and see how that affects your sales versus 20. I've done that recently and saw no real change. Your store size would be more statistically significant. Yeah, Mark, you're absolutely right. I've really been toying around with dropping my percentage down, but I jacked my prices up so much to accommodate for the 20% that I'm just not sure what to do right now. I don't know if I need to reprice and then do 10 or what. But yeah, I need to experiment with that the second half of this year, especially as I try to get my average sell price up. But I was just really trying to move inventory in January and February because it's a slower time. Great, Michael. I'm glad that that sale worked and moved that item for you. Brett Miller said, what mid-range brands do you avoid? J. Crew, Eddie Bauer, Banana Republic, even if they're available for 99 cents. Yeah, all three of those I actually avoid. Just because the price point I can get them at is $4. At 99 cents, I'd have to do some more research. I don't know off the top of my head. But I typically avoid those for mid-range. The lowest brand I'll go to, guys, pretty much for a general rule of thumb, is Ralph Lauren and Brooks Brothers. Hey, Sports says, what's the highest discount amount you do for your weekly store sales? So I do 20% every 2 days. So I run a 2-day sale at 20% off for every item in my store. And I just run it continuously. I just renew it every 2 days. Just kind of puts urgency with the buyer. Jared said, do you recommend a mannequin to all clothing sellers? I don't recommend it right away. Like, I recommend it situationally. If you can afford it, I say get it. I think that it adds at least $1, and I think to me it adds, you can ask $1 more on your listings. I mean, if you want to put like a quantifiable amount to it, so it pays back pretty quick, in my opinion. Achieva said, how to offer one day. You just need to go to your handling settings, Achieva. Go to your bulk edit, your handling settings, and just change it to 1 business day. Turtle, yeah, Tino is awesome on shoes. I agree. Jessica Jones, thanks for the great advice tonight. Working 6 hours, so you're calling it a night. All right, well, enjoy. I appreciate you stopping in, and maybe we'll cross paths out thrifting here in the Queen City for sure. Have fun at work. Mystic Bazaar said, how you keep track of your last bin location item, you make tags. So I use, actually, I have one. Here, hold on, let me show you. So this was an item I prepped tonight. So if you're watching my other videos, I take masking tape And I put, oh, actually, I guess it helped if I showed you the right side. So this focuses, I have F287. This plastic or masking tape goes across. This is a 12 by 15 flat block poly bag. After I take the pictures and write the description down and I'm ready to list it on eBay, it goes in this and it goes in a bin with this number. So like the bin it's in is F286 to F340. So I know items in that range are in that bin, and then when it sells, I just need to go to that bin. So hopefully that makes sense. All right, guys, I'm gonna take about 4 more minutes of questions. I like to keep my videos to like 40 minutes or less because I don't know. I think that everyone should get back to building business. I love that everyone's here though watching. Thank you so much. And I needed the mental break because I'm gonna go back to listing and prepping more stuff tonight. My goal is to list 150 items this weekend to get back on track for March. So, any other last minute questions before we go? Masking tape for easy opening. Yes, Atripa. The masking tape is just easy to write on. I don't actually open it, so I mail it just like you saw. I put it in the poly bag, so when it sells, I just keep it right in there and slide it in. Thanks, Thrift Shop. I really appreciate that. I'm glad that it's helpful, and I appreciate the support. And you have a great weekend as well. Ren Douglas, yes. J. Crew Men's Ludlow is a good one. Blazers, I just sold one for like $100. It was a Laura Piano one. So yeah, there are some exceptions to the rule on brands, guys. Thanks, Jared. Thanks, Antonio. Glad everyone's learning. Hopefully, I can keep sharing some stuff. I'm gonna do I'll do my live shipping video and get back to normal rhythm on Sunday. I'm gonna try to do a how-to video tomorrow. I'm not sure which one yet. I gotta go and look at my list here and pick. Jenny the Girl's Closet said I use a dress form rather than a mannequin as it's easier to get items on and off. Interesting. Yeah, I think I have dress form. And honestly, I'm gonna sound really ignorant, but I'm not sure I know the difference. But like I don't use one with limbs. Does dress form mean it doesn't have limbs, Jenny? Jared said when a clothing weighs, for example, 12.4 ounces, yes, always round up. So when you guys are weighing items, always round up. You don't want to risk that USPS rejects it or charges forward to the buyer. HDLE said our blazer sport coats your biggest ticket items, which are essential in meeting your average sell price item that you need to make 100K. Yes, blazers and sport coats for me and my business model are going to be essential for me making those higher margins. And suits especially are going to be a big part of that, as you know, hitting those $150, $200 home runs every now and then really helps your average sell price. Thank you, Ren. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. John said, did you ever sell suits without mannequin? I did. I used to hang them. I don't think it's nearly as effective. I think with suits, they like to see the way it kind of fits. And I think like seeing it dressed up like on a dress shirt and things like that really helps sell it. So I definitely recommend the mannequin if you're going to get into suits and blazers. Babby said, at what point did you start seeing daily sales? So that's a great question. I honestly don't remember because my first like year and a half selling, I really slowly scaled up because I was doing it very, very part-time. I probably had 400 or 500 items maybe. And that's why watching Shannon on her channel, my fiance, it's really probably the best way if you want to get that indicator for like how fast a new seller can ramp up. I'll put the link down, and I try to put it in each of my videos now so people can find her. She's been selling for 2 weeks. She's listed almost 70 items, and she's had, I think, 7 or 8 sales in her first 2 weeks. So I think that she's a good model, especially on the women's side of things, on how fast you expect things to ramp up. But I would say a good rule of thumb is probably like 400 or 500 items. It seems to me that like every 100 items you have listed, you can expect to sell like 12 or 13 per month. That seems to be the rule of thumb for what I have. Thanks, Antonio. I appreciate the kind words there. It's the thing is, I think the reason I started my channel too is I just want people to see that it's possible you can do big volume as a part-time seller if you have the right model and the right approach. It's possible for anyone. I mean, it just takes time. I've been doing this for a while to get to this point, but I mean, I'm nothing special. I promise. I'm nothing special. It's just a lot of hard work, and anyone else is capable of this for sure. All right, guys, I am going to wrap up. I'm going to get back to prepping clothing and get some more listings up hopefully tonight before I go to bed. It's going to be a long weekend. Hope you guys' Marches are absolutely crushing it, and I will be live on Sunday. and we'll talk soon, guys. Have an awesome night, guys.